What's going on, everyone? In this video, we'll be going over the digital SAT June and the tips and tricks that you can use to get that 1600 ASAP. Alright, so this trick is actually a 2023 digital SAT specific trick. And I know a lot of guys are like, oh my god, these tricks are always the same thing. No, this is a new trick. That is to know your know it or don't. Now you might be like, what did he just say?
What did he say?
On the digital SAT, there's a lot of questions where you might get a question where it's going to ask you a principle of, like, say, a circle or a triangle, and you either know it or you don't. Like, there's no way you can use math or somehow solve for the answer. And the perfect example of this is when you're given a question where it's like the measure of the arc is 100 degrees. What is the measure of the central angle? And it's gonna be a circle like this, and it's gonna have, let's say, ROS, and then O will be the angle, and then R and S are points on the circle. So the angle ROS is formed, and the measure of the arc is 100 degrees, and it's gonna ask you what's the measure of the inner angle, so angle ROS, and you're gonna be like, how do I possibly solve this? Like, there's no other context given. So they give me one number, 100 degrees, and that's the measure of the arc. You're thinking of all your formulas you know for a circle. You're like, oh my god, the arc length formula, the inner angle formula, how can I possibly solve this? Well, if you do not know that the measure of the central angle is the same as the measure of the arc of the circle, then there's absolutely no way you can get this question right. Obviously the answer is 100 in the example I gave you, because it's the angles are equivalent, the inner angle as well as the angle formed by the arc. So if you do not know that, you're 100% missing that question. And that's why I really want you guys to practice your know it or you don't, because these are the questions that you can solve these in literally 3 seconds if you know it, and that saves you so much time on the entire SAT math section, and you can now put that time to harder problems that you may be facing and have some problems with. So please study those. There's usually a guide of notes and don'ts that you can probably find online, as well as I have that in my SAT math course as well. So I want you guys to really check out as much as you can and basically memorize all these formulas and these notes or you don't type of questions, because that way you can answer these questions super fast and move on to the next question ASAP. Another example of a know it or you don't is the negative b over a. It's the sum of the solutions of a quadratic. Luckily with this form of question, you can use like the math or use a quadratic formula to find like the overall answer. You still have some chance if you don't know the trick, but this trick will save you like a lot of time. Negative b over a saves lives. Second tip is to sharpen your mental processing power. Now this is a tip that a lot of students do not implement in their study routine, and God knows why, because this is the tip that honestly I can say helped me get an 800 on my SAT math section. And this tip I've used to improve a lot of students' SAT math scores, not just mine, but every student who's actually implemented this in the study routine. I've seen their score go from like a 700 to an 800 or a 600 to a 780. The increase is insane, and this is why I really want you guys to like take this point home. So you see on the SAT math section, a lot of the problems, if you read the answer choices, you can already eliminate 2 of the answer choices. Sometimes if you're lucky, you could even eliminate 3 answer choices, and as a result, then the last one remaining is the answer. And the only way you can do this is if you read the problem and you try to make logical sense of it. A lot of the math questions, let's say a question is for any x, y is always positive, and A, B, C, and D are all equations. The question is which equation models the situation where no matter what the x is, y is always positive, right? You think in your head, okay, if x is 0, then no matter what y is, it has to be positive. Now you just go through A, B, C, and D. You plug in x equals 0. Let's say these choices are simple equations like x cubed or x penta, x minus 1 squared, x plus 1, or x minus 1. And you plug in 0, you can see that you can eliminate a lot of the choices. Let's say you are able to eliminate all 3 choices, and the last one remaining, then that's your answer. But let's say there's 2 choices left. Then you plug in x equals 1, and between them two, one of them is most likely going to be eliminated, and the last one remaining is your obvious answer. For this type of trick, you don't have to write anything down. You can look at A, plug in 0, is y positive? Yes or no? No, take it out. Plug in x equals 0 to B, y positive? Yes or no? No, take B out. Plug into C, is y positive? Yes. Okay, let's keep C. Plug into D, x equals 0, y is, let's say, negative 2. D is gone. You're left with C, C is your answer. And this happens at like rocket speed. Like you probably do this in 3-4 seconds, right? If you look at each choice. You don't have to write anything down with your pencil. And a lot of questions are like this on the digital SAT math section for module 1 and module 2, where if you use simple logic and you use maybe like minor calculations in your brain, you're gonna see that you're probably not picking up your pencil for a lot of these questions, like a lot. And when you're at that point, you start seeing things that you never saw before. You start seeing why the College Board has decided to put this answer choice as a possible choice on the ST math section. And this ST thinking, ST mindset, if you guys are understanding what I'm saying, is the most powerful mindset you can have, most powerful way of thinking you can have on the math SAT, because this is where you get the 800 like with ease. And one of the best ways to practice this and actually implement this in your study routine is practice not picking up your pencil unless you absolutely have to, or unless the calculations are very extreme, or if there's like a lot of shapes going on, like circles and triangles, then it's good to model that out. I want you to practice not pick up your pencil and try to solve questions mentally and see how you do. Try to do this habit, try to develop it, try to do it every day. Take like a small set of math problems, let's say 10 or 11, do them mentally, see how many you can actually do mentally, how many you get correct mentally. And I also want you to just practice mental math, as much as you can in your daily life, right? If you're at the grocery store and you're trying to like see if I get these 3 items, what's the total cost, try to add it up in your brain. And you want to sharpen your mental math processing power, because this will obviously help you in SAT, but also help you in life. So let's practice that. Third tip is to engage in some assisted learning. If you are that student and you think you might need some extra help to really push you to that gold score of yours for this June SAT, then I want you to check out my SD bundle, link in the description below. It has everything you need for math and reading. And if you don't want to watch high in-depth recorded course videos, that's obviously featured in my course, then you could always engage in some one-on-one tutoring with me. Again, link in the description below. Just email me and you can work something out, because I really want you guys to get your gold score. And I know if you're a student who can't really self-study, you need that push, I can push you and I will help you get that gold score. And the last tip is to ease the mental tension on yourself. All right, guys, this is a June SAT. If you're taking this SAT, this is not your last chance for the SAT. It will be an August one for both digital and non-digital SAT test takers. So if you're, applying to college in the fall, you got more SATs you can take. Now, obviously, yeah, this is your June SAT. You probably want to knock it out. You probably want to get that gold score so you don't have to worry about the SAT ever again in your life. Like, yes, I understand. I was a student too, and I was so happy that my first SAT, I got a 1530. So I was like, yes, sir, broke the 1500 range. I'm done. You want to be that student. I understand that. But if you put so much stress on yourself, you're like, oh my God, this is it. If I failed the June SAT, I'm done. I'm going to community college and living on the streets or something. I don't know. Don't think of it like that. Remember that there's another chance for the SAT. The June SAT, if anything, is like a practice SAT for you, or it's SAT where, hey, if you get your gold score, you're lucky, or you just fast forward the timeline of your SAT journey because you got the gold score your first time, so now you're done. But it's okay if it takes you 2 or 3 times to get your gold score, and June SAT is the first time you're taking SAT. So prepare for the August SAT no matter what you get on the June SAT, unless it's a perfect score. And with that thinking, you will be able to ease the mental stress on yourself. And we all know the more stress you have on yourself, the more mental tension you have on yourself, the less likely you're able to get a high score on any exam, because stress does not equal high scores. That concludes this video. So if you really want to improve your SAT score, be sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, and engage in any sense of learning. Link in the descriptions below for that. And just be sure to rehearse these tips, right? Practice your mental processing power, and make sure you practice or know it or you don't.